Good morning indeed, Chamberlain, and good morning, everyone. Welcome to Business Morning on Sunrise Daily. We do business for just about 30 minutes before we head back to the Sunrise Daily studios. Now, we start from the global space where oil eased on Friday after a rally the previous day, but prices stay set for a second straight week gain as investors weigh the impact of hurricane that's damaging a lot in the United States, and it's also threatening demand against any broad supply disruption if Israel attacks Iranian oil sites. Now, Brent, we see, dropped 29 cents. That's about 0.4%. This morning at $79.11, while WTI was down 0.3%, and that's about 21 cents to settle at $75.64 a barrel. Crude benchmarks spiked this month because of that Iran's launch against Israel. 180 missiles is what was spent. Now, Israeli Defense Minister said that any strike against Iran will be lethal, precise and surprising. That's what they say. But even yesterday in Lebanon, Israeli strike was on central Beirut yesterday, Thursday, and it killed 22 people, wounded at least 117. This information is from Lebanon's health ministry. Meanwhile, Lebanese security sources said that at least one senior Hezbollah figure was a target in that attacks. Meanwhile, Gulf states are lobbying Washington to stop Israel from attacking Iran's oil sites, and that's out of concern for their own oil facilities. It might come under fire. Also, on the supply side, Libya's National Oil Corporation has said that it has restored production close to levels before the country's central bank crisis. You know that, took away about 1 million barrels per day from global oil production. Now we come to Nigeria, we look at the Naira, and we see, a little bit of gain yesterday. Well, I guess a bigger reason to appreciate that gain would be because there was no CBN intervention, and yet we saw that the Naira gain. So we see for NFM, it's small, but I mean, it's positive. It's positive, 0.16% for NFM, and that's just about 2 Naira 56 kobo. So while it opened at 1,625 Naira 13 kobo, it closed at 1,622 Naira 57 kobo. For NAFEX, there was also a gain, smaller than that, 0.07%. Opened at 1,640 Naira 72 kobo. So the change we see here is just in the cobbles. But I mean, the good thing is that there was a gain without a CBN intervention, perhaps because there was less demand. But I mean, that's the bottom line. Expected to stay around this level in the coming days. Now, ahead of the release of Nigeria's inflation report for September, that's expected next week, mostly is on the 15th of the month, by the National Bureau of Statistics. Economic think tank and advisory firm Financial Derivatives Company has projected a higher increase in the rates. Not surprising, we see what's happening around us. When in its latest forecast, FDC says they expect the monthly headline number to climb marginally by 0.22%. Point to 32.37, largely because of higher petrol price and exchange rate depreciation. This, according to the FDC, will bring an end to the 2 consecutive months of this inflation that we've seen that started in July. However, FDC says that it expects annual and monthly food inflation to continue its decline because of harvest season. And in the pension space now, Nigeria's contributory pension assets hit a new milestone of 21.14 trillion naira at the end of August. That's an increase of 20.79 trillion naira compared to what was recorded in July. According to this latest data, which is from the National Pension Commission, PENCOM, the amount represents a 345.65 billion naira increase from its previous level, following a modest rise in the number of contributors to the pension. The PENCOM report also shows that the number of registered contributors, otherwise called retirement savings holders, also grew. So more people retired, and more than 10.45 million at the end of August. That's an increase of about 10%. 0.4 million RSA holders recorded in July. Now, a bit of corporate now. Geregu yesterday made the news, but I guess that news came in a bit late, so we didn't see it reflect in the stock market report at the close of trade. Perhaps today we would see some movement around Geregu. Geregu is the first power-listed generation company. Geregu Power PLC, they released their 9-month results for this year, showing a lot of good news for investors. According to the statement, the company's revenue grew more than 100%. You have it right there on the screen. So we see revenue up more than 100% at 112.58 billion. Pre-tax profit also gained more than 100%. And then we see profit after tax also went up more than 100%. And if you're a shareholder, their earnings per share went up also. And then the current share is about 1,000. You don't see that very often for a share price to be about 1,000 naira. So if you're able to get into Geregu Power, I guess you'd be smiling to the bank at the end of the year. And we say congratulations to you. We're still talking about power now, but this time it's a goodwill and it's All On. All On has decided to bring light to a community in Bayelsa State after months of darkness and still waiting power, electricity supply from the national grid. They looked the way of solar and they put a smile on the face of this community.
I'm excited to share this news with you.
For over 2 months, Bayelsa State has been plunged into darkness following the collapse of critical electricity towers. While the Transmission Company of Nigeria works on restoring the grid, a new solution has emerged for residents of Koroga.
Amen.
All On, through its financing and support, commissioned CELO Energy Limited to deliver a solar hybrid mini-grid that now powers 380 residential homes, 39 businesses, 5 public institutions, and 6 productive use connections. The project, which highlights the first execution stage of All On's grants to developers to establish mini-grids, will serve as the first of many other mini-grids that will be commissioned in other rural communities.
This is a thing, if you look for it for 100 million, you cannot get. And it has come to stay. We are happy. We are overwhelmed with joy.
The CEO of C Solar, Chibueze Eke, explained that the mini-grid financed by All On is designed not only to provide electricity, but also to enhance economic growth.
I think this is just one of the many initiatives that are important to reduce carbon emission, to reduce the burning of fossil fuels, which affects the environment, and to be able to have a solution that is not just sustainable, but is also reliable and is able to actually help people in the community.
Koroga is one of several communities benefiting from All On's commitments to driving renewable energy access in the Niger Delta. This mini-grid is part of a broader strategy to electrify underserved communities across the region, with a focus on sustainability and economic empowerment.
The Niger Delta has long faced significant challenges when it comes to electricity assets. At All On, we recognize that to address these challenges, we need to create a sustainable solution that will truly make a difference in the lives of those living in this region.
They say it will bring light, brings life, because a lot of things will follow this light that has come to you in this community. So on your part is to protect these facilities.
With All On's investment and C Solar's technical expertise, Koroga now enjoys reliable, clean energy that will spur growth and improve living standards. It is a model of rural electrification that promises to be replicated across the Niger Delta.
Congratulations to that. And of course, we expect economic activities in that area to, just grow and skyrocket. And we're looking forward to the results of that. Now, we're going to Abuja now, where there's been a meeting of accountants general from the various states of the Federation, and it's at the instance of the Federal Inland Revenue Service, with the intention to foster closer collaboration to mobilize revenue for developmental purpose for the Federation. The executive chairman of the service, Mr. Zach Adediji, who hosted the conversation there, challenged the participants, mostly made up of accountant generals from different states, challenged them to key into the reforms of the present administration, and of course, that's happening around the tax reforms.
We are all agents of same government, united by one vision to ramp up revenue for the growth and development of Nigeria and by extension for the benefit of its citizens. It is no longer news that our nation is facing economic challenges, but as a government, it is imperative that we look inward and increase our internally generated revenue. However, this does not necessarily mean increasing tax rates. Instead, we must focus on blocking the leakages and ensuring full compliance with the existing tax law, a task that I believe we can achieve together. Your role as Accountant General is critical in this regard. You are responsible for ensuring that VAT is charged and remitted, that stamp duties are paid on contracts, and that withholding tax elements in contracts are properly withheld and remitted. This is not just tax assigned to you by law, but by responsibility that are central to the sources of our collective mandate. We trust that whenever we call upon you, we can count on your continued support and cooperation.
I guess it was important there that the FIRS chief emphasizes that it's not about increasing taxes, but we are getting more efficient in the collection and remittances of taxes right there. Now, one issue we cannot run away from in the country at this time is the new petrol price, PMS, everywhere. On my way to the office this morning, there are still queues, but mostly at the NNPC, because I guess that's where you have the cheapest. But I mean, the thing is, I can't seem to find any price, on their boards out there. I wonder if that's a strategy, or perhaps they're still, preparing how to, whatever they're going to put there. But the reality of Nigeria is that we're getting closer to full deregulation. That's what the economists will call it, even though, like the CPPE boss had said that Nigeria is not yet ready for that, but that's what we are facing now. Now, let's hear from a former chairman of IPMAN, Independent or Petroleum Oil Marketers from Rivers State, Dr. Joseph Obele. He's an energy marketing expert and is also a lecturer at the Ignatius Ajuru University of Education. Dr. Obele, good morning. I wonder how hard or how hot or how deep this is biting into your pockets.
Thank you for having me. I want to say the pains Nigerians are passing through as concerns the frequent increment to PMS is quite unfortunate, and I sympathize with the citizens of Nigeria. Just this year alone, for the third time, we've seen increment on this product called PMS. And recall that we are all aware that in every economy, there could be a particular commodity that revolves price of every other product or so. But basically in Nigeria, this product called PMS anchors or is the foundation for which every other product revolves as it concerns pricing template. Whatever happens to PMS invariably will affect to all the products in the market. So it's quite unfortunate. The inflation of Nigeria recently, as posited by Nigeria Bureau of Statistics, was put at 32.4%. Even as I have issue with that, because before then it was put at 33.8%. And the publication of 2 weeks ago, they say it was reducing, and I have serious issue with that. In the business community, we see things rising every day. In local marketing, products are rising every day. So the yardstick or the parameter that Nigeria Bureau of Statistics might have used to ascertain that Nigeria inflation is reducing, I think it's questionable, and I have issue with that. So regarding the price of the recent increment to PMS, I'm a licensed petroleum marketer, and we don't really believe on rumors. So as at 2 days ago, it was a rumor until we actually saw it on our portal. We have what we call NNPC Buying Express, where the marketers usually buy. So the adjustment has reflected as such, and kudos to the national president of IPMAN, Abubakar Geregu. He led the delegation of independent petroleum marketers yesterday to the office of NNDPRO, and a lot of resolutions were reached in that meeting. One of that was there was a promise that they will be reviewing this price in the next few days, and agitation from these toothless bookdoors called them Nigerian Labour Congress have caused the vulnerability of Nigerians. We've never seen it before now under any leadership of Nigerian Labour Congress, that prices will just be increased arbitrarily, making Nigerians feel through untold hardship. So once again, asking about how we feel here in Port Harcourt. Today in Rivers State, PMS is selling close 1,003, 1,004, 1,700 naira per litre, depending on your location in Rivers State. The worst of it could be the Rivers people at the creek, at the riverside. They are buying it over 2,000 naira per litre. And I think it's quite unfortunate. It's quite unfortunate.
Yeah, but Dr. Bele, I mean, as a stakeholder, you're inside this industry. We've been talking about the PIA, deregulation of the sector for a while. Isn't this what deregulation looks like?
I must say the hostility in the Nigeria oil and gas sector as concerns the downstream sector over 22 years ago was really a negative report given by the international investors, and that really affected the business boom in the sector. It affected so Nigerians now reached a resolution that we need to have a document called a legal framework to really put in place a way of attracting foreign investors. And the document was then the PIA bill that was later signed by the outgoing president that will now have it as PIA. In the PIA, section 205, there is a provision that the determinant of price as it concerns petroleum products, it could be basically factors of economy, which is demand and supply, but it's contrary. So if one is asking if Nigeria is really executing the provisions of the PIA, I would say no, because how dare you peg a price in an economy where a legal framework has posited in section 205 that the sector should be deregulated. Deregulation implies what you call in the market free market economy, where no person fixes price for a commodity. What we are seeing in Nigeria right now, where the government, through the agency called NNPCL, fix a price what the northerners should sell at the southern Nigeria and the rest, is called a command economy, market economy, or a control market economy. You don't fix price, and at that, consumers will not get the best value for money exchange, for value, for product exchange for money when there is no competition. The Nigeria oil and gas downstream sector right now, as we speak, I would say is a zero competitive environment arising from the fact that we see monopoly where NNPC position itself as a sole wholesaler. In the IT market and the supply chain, there is this course we call wholesale and retail management, where we do analysis. We call it the P to W, from W to R, from R to C. That's producer will produce and then give the stock to the wholesaler. After the wholesaler now gives to the retailer. Retailer now sell to the C, which is the end user, the consumers. I've never seen in this chain, in my years of lecturing students, where the P turned to the W, where the producer loses its status and turned to the wholesaler. I was shocked when NNPC, that owns 4 nation-owned refineries, lost its place status of the producer and to graciously, boldly, or shamefully takes the place of a wholesaler. But good enough, that has been dismantled, and it has been signed that marketers can buy directly from Dangote. And I think independent petroleum marketers are celebrating that very approval at the moment, because we have close 40,000 filling stations across Nigeria. Call it retail marketers, major marketers, which is MoMA, and IPMA members. Of these 40,000 statistics of total filling stations in Nigeria, record have it that independent petroleum marketers control 80% of the total filling stations in Nigeria. It is only independent petroleum marketers that have stations across all the nooks and crannies of the nation, in the creeks, the local rural areas, and everywhere. But the IOCs, the major marketers, basically established in the urban areas, the cities. So kudos should be given to independent petroleum marketers for spreading retail outlets across the nation.
All right.
But in view of this, most times recognition.
Dr. Obele, I wanted to ask, now that everybody can buy from Dangote Refinery, do you see the price reducing?
The only factor that can trigger the reduction of price is an intensive competition in this sector. And I describe it as what I call four-dimensional competitive dimensions in the sector. First dimension, Dangote has commenced operation, and speculations have it that is selling between 800 to 900 naira per liter to NNPC. The NNPC is adding its own markup to further sell to marketers. That's fine. So now Dangote is one dimension. And we are also saying the four nation-owned refinery, the two in Port Harcourt, one in Warri and Kaduna, should be privatized to reputable private firms. And early this year, I think that should be January or February, there was a publication by NNPC calling for bidders that were ready to come and take up the refinery under the agreement of maintain, repair, and operate. That was fine. People commended that. But we were shocked. 2 weeks after then, we saw a protest in Abuja saying, no, it shouldn't be privatized. It should still remain under the management of the NNPC. And stakeholders were asking, which NNPC are you talking about? Is it angelic NNPC or the present NNPC we've seen that was unable to manage the four refineries? Is it the present NNPC we see that under its watch an offset of petroleum product was imported to Nigeria 3 years ago that damaged a lot of cars and machines? Is it the same NNPC that have shipped itself from the producer and taken the role of a wholesaler? So stakeholders are submitting that these four own refineries should be privatized to a reputable, not Asia firm. Take note of this, because I'm aware in the call for bidding, a lot of Nigerian firms also bidded. And stakeholders in the sector are saying, no, don't privatize these four refineries to a Nigerian-owned firm. Give it an England-owned firm or American-owned firm, not even an Asia-owned firm, because I know all these four sectors of the regions all apply for it. So now the private firms operating these four refineries is second dimension of competition. Now recall, we have two functional modular refineries in Nigeria as we speak. The Watersmith refinery at Imo State and the Niger Delta refinery at Ahoda, Obele, Konga State. That is the third dimension. And also, evidence have it that cost of production in the modular refinery will not be as compared to cost of production in the full-scale refinery. So if Dangote is selling about 800 naira per liter, it will be much cheaper compared to the cost of production at the modular refinery. So modular refinery becomes the third dimension of competition. Then the fourth dimension could be the windows for importation should be remain open to anyone that can import. So when Dangote is pegging his rate, the operators of the private refineries are pegging their rate, and the third dimension, which is modular refineries, are pegging their rate, and the fourth dimension, importers are still refining this product. I put to you the price of this product called PMS today, troubling Nigerians, will drop below 500 naira. A good example of that could be the telecom industry. The line I'm using right now, I bought it 35,000 naira.
Sorry, Dr. Obele, because we're almost out of
50,000, 4,000.
All right, Dr. Obele, because we're almost out of time, I know you wanted to compare it to the telecoms industry, but I mean, when you talk about price going below 500,000, are you factoring the fact that global crude oil is priced, in dollars and it's international? So whether you are using it locally or you're importing it, you have to take that into consideration. Did you put that as a factor?
The components that constitute the present selling rate of PMS Nigerians are buying right now is about basically 7 components. When Nigerians start producing within Nigeria, we have this raw material within Nigeria, we have more the workforce within Nigeria. About 5 of these 7 components will be eliminated. And the present components, whichever cost component has been eliminated, further reduces the cost of the unit cost of any product. So we are saying that when we start refining in Nigeria, since we have the crude oil locally, we have the facility, the refinery facility locally, workforce locally, the event in the international market, which is called the external market environment, will no longer affect us. the aggression of Israel over Gaza and Lebanon right now as we speak, we see, and Iran also, seems to pose a lot of threat at the high sea in the international market. So whatever is happening at the international market, since it is an uncontrollable market, will invariably affect us over here in the local market. So this is why we are saying that the time for Nigerian local refinery to start production, it should be now in view of eliminating ourselves from the factors of the external environment.
All right, Dr. Obele, the other question I would like to ask, you're calling for privatization of the refineries. Do you think that at the state where the refineries are now, will we be able to get investors who would want to put their money into refineries that haven't worked in years?
The investors we are talking about, recall during the debate and argument backward and forward as it concerns the turnaround maintenance that is ongoing right now, the revamping, the presidential as a candidate or PDP, talking about Atiku Abubakar, he did mention, don't spend a dime, don't add your money, privatize it at that face value. But now the government then under Buhari now got a loan of $1.5 billion from RTC Bank, and hence it has been used for the rehabilitation. So the refinery is coming up at optimal capacity, so that will attract investors, like to compare to the dormant state it was before now, the deplorable state. So the state is coming up right now after the rehabilitation. It's fine, but nothing will change if you still give this refinery to the present leadership of NNPC we will have right now. This is why stakeholders are saying after the rehabilitation, it should be given to a high reputable private firm that will have that will withstand the intensive competition that will be posed by Dangote PLC. The operation of Dangote as concerns competition is what we call the Red Sea approach in competition, or the game theory in marketing. It's so aggressive in view of making your competitors fit and to gain a monopoly at the end of it. So until we have competition in the sector, the prices will remain fluctuating and unstable as it is right now.
All right, Dr. Joseph Obele, former chairman of IPMAN in Rivers State. Thank you so much for your views. We appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me.
All right, of course, we'll have different views and, considerations and suggestions until we get out of this issue of energy security and affordability too, one might add. Just before we head back to the Sunrise Daily Studio, a little bit of the market yesterday. It was slightly down 0.01%, lost about 5 billion naira. The close of trade, we have it there. We're still around 56 trillion naira, but it's a negative one. See, we'll have a bit of recovery this afternoon when we're going to do intraday numbers. The banking is still down, and I still wonder if it's some of those not so good news coming from the banking sector operations in the bank, if that's scaring investors away, but it was down 0.22%. That's banking. Oil and gas was also down at the close of trade yesterday. Top trades yesterday was from the financial sector. I'll be back 1 p.m. Business Incorporated. We'll take you around the world of business in 55 minutes. It will be just you and I later on today. So please don't leave me alone. Let's make it a date at 1 p.m. Business Incorporated. Let's head back now to the Sunrise Daily Studio.